What's up, guys? My name's Derek, and welcome back to the Sundown Audio unofficial YouTube channel. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Another late night here at the shop. It is 8:20, and I'm just now getting a chance to shoot any video footage. I've been working hard. Sorry, no live action build footage tonight. I just dove in, tackled getting this stuff done. Didn't even think about the camera. I just wanted to get work done. But big update. Alternator is on. It's wired up. It's working. It's charging. We're going to talk about that. But first, if you're new to the channel, let me tell you what we do here. My name's Derek. I work at Sundown Audio. We're a big car audio manufacturer. We make equipment, and on the side, I like to build loud vehicles, including this one you see in the background, what I call ProjectSPL. It's the current build I'm working on. Right now, I'm in the middle of the alternator install. Just got that done tonight. We've got a big wall. We're putting subwoofers in here, 4 18s. I'm starting out with 4 Sundown Audio U18s. Later on, we're going to upgrade to some Neo subs. For right now, we're running U18s in the back. So again, if you're new to the channel, you can see I got my SPL tubes back there. They're not installed yet. And we've done all kinds of work to this thing. We've got a full floor cut, flat floor. We've got wheels, big suspension lift, cap banks. We got tons of caps. Right now, they're just temporarily sitting here on the tailgate with a power and ground wired up to them just to get some power in here. So, remember guys, if you like what we're doing, go ahead and tell y'all here right now. Remember to click that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, share with your friends. But yeah, so alt is on. Now let's get this current update. CES alternator, custom electric service. This thing's beautiful. This nice, I don't even know if it's going to show up on camera well. This nice, sparkly, pretty purple. It's in, it's charging, it's working. So all this evening, it hadn't been the alt installed. Alt's installing these things, even though this is an old GM truck. Almost all GM trucks, all the way up to some of the newer ones, they're all identical. You got 2 bolts on the bottom to hold this thing. You got a tensioner. You just hit that tensioner with a wrench, or even these old ones, you can just put a crowbar, pry bar, something in there real quick. Pop the belt loose. 2 bolts. Alternator comes off. Third bolt to get your power wire stuff off the back. 2 bolts to bolt it back in. Power wires bolts to the back. Slip your belt back on. It's done. You can change these alts out in probably 5 minutes. No joke. Hardest thing was doing a lot of those little nitpicking things. One, running power wire. Didn't have any power wire in here yet. So I've got power wire, Sundown Audio 1/0 wire. We've got a power coming right here to the back of the alternator. We've got a ground going right there to the alternator bracket. Both of these drop down and run all the way to the back. Now, a little tip, guys. Things are going to vary vehicle to vehicle, but when I run power wire, going underneath the vehicle, first place I always look for is the factory fuel lines. The factory fuel lines are always routed away from moving parts and hot parts like the exhaust. They will always be away from that stuff. So those are always a safe place to run the power wires. That way you don't have to worry about moving parts or hot parts. Nothing burning your wire, nothing touching it, messing it up. Now that doesn't mean that's always the perfect place. Just that's the first place I look for, and that's exactly where I've got the power and ground wires ran here. Now, some of you guys out there are only think about running wire inside a vehicle, and I know people are already asking me questions about how am I going to run power wire if I've already got the wall in? Where am I going to run my power wire? Well, it's under the vehicle. A lot of vehicles we run all the power wire under the vehicle. Take them down, run to the back, tie them up. It's all good. There are no dangers. I know a lot of guys worry about protecting the wire, putting something over it. Do I got to coat it? Do I got to run it through some pipe? Do I got to run it through a jack, anything? Not if you got good power wire. Good power wire like Sundown Audio is coated with a nice PVC jacket It protects it from the weather. This jacket will be fine. You can run it underneath your car. You don't have to worry about having any issues. You will not have issues running this wire under your car. The weather will not get through that jacket and mess it up. Now follow along. I've got it ran down with the fuel lines, run up to the back. One of the other things I had to get in here and do, I had another wire, you might be able to see back in there. So I've got it loosely tied up. I went ahead and got some of my zip ties, got them screwed in. You can see where my power wire comes around, comes under the frame, and loops up right up into here. So, jump inside and show you exactly what I did. I pointed out in the past, this angle is where my filler neck is. That corner back in there, it's kind of a dead corner. Got in there with a hole saw bit, drilled me some holes straight down, ran my wire up. This cap bank is heavy. So everybody else was already gone for the day, and I really wanted to get this thing fired up and make sure everything was working. I had to pick this thing up by myself and throw it up here on the tailgate, and it is not light. But I got it up, got some wires temporarily hooked up to it, get us power. All this power shoots back up to the front. So one of the things I definitely want to show you I did up here is battery delete. I'm not worried about having a battery in this thing at all, not even to crank the vehicle. Those caps in the back are going to do anything, everything, plenty of juice to crank this vehicle up, do what I want to do. So the battery has been deleted. And what I've done in here is I got a little battery delete plate that I made, fabbed up, and just used some extra battery terminals I had. These are from Jim's Machine Works. Big shout out to him. Terminals are awesome. Took these Jim Machine Work terminals, got them fixed down to my battery delete plate. I even threw in a little voltmeter in here. So I'll always know up front what my voltage is resting at. For now, my external voltage regulator from CES is just chilling. I don't have it mounted yet, but I'm gonna get it mounted in here. So it's just chilling, connected up. I know y'all might want to see me crank it up and run it, but this thing still runs a little so you kind of gotta pat the throttle a little bit. Plus it's not very happy. I've got the intake air temperature sensor disconnected because I haven't put the duct back on it. So it's idling kind of bad. But just trust me, you see that the voltage is sitting at, crank it up, the alt's working, it's charging. It's awesome. I think this alternator is going to do great charging all 20 banks of those caps. One of the other things I told y'all previously I would talk about in this video, and that's how many runs of power wire do you need? So here's what's up. I have one run of positive and one run of negative going throughout this truck, because I'm only running a 270 amp alternator. Even if I was running a 300, 320, one alternator, no matter what, I'm running one run of power wire. Now, when I say one run of wire, I mean one run of positive wire. You should always have just as many grounds as you do your power, your positive. So if you have one positive, you should have one negative. Always make them match. Never have less. All right, now, my generic theory, what I like to go by is one run of power, one run of positive wire for every power source you have in the front of that vehicle. Now, batteries and alternators are power sources to me. So if you've got a battery up front, well, that's one run of wire, and you got an alternator up front, that's two runs of wire. If this was just a simple drop-in little 1500 watt system, you don't need multiple runs of wire. One run of wire is good for you. Always run the biggest, best wire you can afford to get in that car. You'll thank it later. But aftermarket setups where you've got an aftermarket big battery, you've got an aftermarket big alternator, I would typically always run two runs of power, two runs of ground. Always do that, because I treat everything like a power source. Battery's a power source, alternator's a power source, and I do one run of wire per. Now, here's where we're going to take a trip back here to point out something before I keep going. In a lot of your huge car audio setups that are out there right now, including this one, they have banks of batteries or caps. They have huge banks in the back. That is your primary power source for your amplifiers, okay? This is where all your multiple runs of wire are going to come off of to feed your amplifiers. So don't think, oh, I'm running 40,000 watts. I need 50 runs of power wire from the front of the vehicle. No, because all your power isn't coming from the front of the vehicle. It's all coming from your big battery bank in the back. Now, back to the front of the vehicle. What power is coming from the front of your vehicle? Well, power that's coming from any batteries you got up there, power that's coming from any alternators you got up here. So if you're one of these guys that's got a huge aftermarket alternator setup, you got 4 alternators on your car. Well, each of them alternators is a power source, so that would be 4 runs of wire plus my factory battery. I would run 5 positive runs of wire, and that's it. I'm not a believer of having 10, 12, 20 runs of wire. It's not needed. It flat out is not needed. Now, if you want to take time, you want to do the math yourself, there's plenty of online calculators, online charts. You can do the math and say, well, I've got 4 alternators and they're rated 320 amps each, so I've got this much capability of moving current to the back, so it's going to take this many runs of wire to handle that much current. And that's cool. If you want to do that math and it tells you run 10 runs of wire, you know, you do your thing. I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm not going to tell you you're going to mess anything up. You can run 50 runs of wire. It's not going to hurt anything except your wallet and your time, having to do it and having to pay for it. So there is no negative to it, not that I know of, but it's just not needed. And the reason I bring this up is because I see it so much online, so much, and especially on the groups. So you see it in the forums back in the days. Now we see it in the Facebook groups. Somebody gets in there and they're like, oh man, yeah, I'm doing this install in my Tahoe and I just upgraded my alternator and I'm trying to figure out how much wire I need. How much wire do I need to run? And instantly, you know, this guy could have one 4,000 watt amp. And I swear almost every post like this, I see someone go, you need 10 runs of wire. No, you don't need 10 runs of wire. I say, for me, even if you have a huge, massive setup, you only need enough runs of wire to get the power from here to back there. You're not feeding all 50,000 watts of your power from up here. You don't need enough wire to carry that. That's just not how it works. So feel free, do the math yourself on your setup, how much alternator power you've got that you need to move to the back and how many runs of wire it's going to take. Also keep in mind, not all wire is created equal. There are some really bootleg wires out there. I'm talking just some garbage, junk, generic wire from China that you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, look it up. You can get some wire that's going to claim it's 1/0 wire. It's going to be huge. And I'll grab some of our 1/0 to show you right here. So you're going to get some just generic junk wire. You're going to look at it and you're going to be like, oh man, that wire's huge. But as soon as you cut it and you look at this side of it, you're going to see a huge jacket with very little wire inside. So pay close attention to the brand of wire you buy. It is not all created equal. There are wires that are better than others. Another thing you pay close attention to is a strand count. Now this is a huge ongoing debate. I'm not going to get into that here. Some people are like, oh, well, strand count doesn't matter because some will have bigger strands than others, so it's fine to have lower strands because some strands will be bigger. For the most part, most of your car audio wires all use similar sized individual strands. So if you got a 1/0 wire that has 4,200 strands, or a 1/0 wire that has 4,700 strands, or a 1/0 wire that has 5,145 strands, the one with the most strands is typically always going to be your bigger wire. Again, doesn't always mean better. Here's another thing that I want to point out. Silver tinned OFC copper. I know there's a fad out there right now for this CCA wire, copper coated aluminum. My opinion, this stuff's junk. Copper coated aluminum is junk, it's garbage. You'll never see it in one of my setups, ever. I don't care how cheap it is. So some people are, oh, but it's so cheap. I don't care how cheap it is. Guess what? That stuff will not carry current as good OFC copper. It won't do it. It can't do it. It's not capable of it. So even if you get it cheap, what you're going to have to run 2 to 3 times as much wire to be able to carry the same current as a good copper wire will carry. You also see, point out the silver tinned. That's one of the things that helps you too. I'm a huge fan of silver tinned wire. If you get some 1/0 wire and it looks really a copperish, has that copper brass look to it, it's not silver tin. You want wire that's got that shiny silver look to it. That means it's coated, protected. It's gonna fight the weather a little bit more. If your wire is a silver tin, it's got more of a chance of the weather getting to it, causing issues, having oxidation, and basically corroding. And you don't want to see that. So I know some people might complain, sundown audio wires, it's so expensive, it's so expensive. Well, this is why. It's oversized, it's silver tin, it is good OFC copper. There's independent tests people have done out there to test the wire and the makeup and all the little details about it. It's passed everything with flying colors. But again, I'm not telling you have to run sundown audio wire. I'm just telling you sundown wire is awesome. If you're not gonna run sundown audio wire, look for another wire similar, oversized with 5145 strands, silver tinned, OFC copper, nice flexible PVC insulation. This stuff is super, super duper flexible, which is a good quality, not one that's absolute must. I mean, I'll deal with some wire that's not flexible if it's good wire in every other way. But know that if you ever need to bend this, twist it, do something funky with it, it's super, super flexible. It's got an awesome PVC jacket on it. It's gonna protect you from the weather. It's got that silver tin wire. It's just great in every way. So pay real close attention to what kind of wire you buy. Sometimes it's worth spending the extra money. I'm telling you, I don't like CCA wire. If it works for you, cool. You're not gonna find it in any of my setups. But I think that's it for this update. Goal for the night is done. It took me a few hours to get all the wire ran and tidied up a little bit, get my battery delete piece going. But I'm pretty happy with where it's at. Next update, tomorrow night, subwoofers. I got some of the stuff I need to start running wire through the back of the box. So we'll hop in here again real quick, show you. You can see the tubes aren't mounted. They're just kind of chilling there. So that's it. Next step, get inside of here. Get those tubes mounted. Get my holes drilled through the back of the box. I'm running some of our oversized OFC, oxygen-free copper, silver tinned 8-gauge wire is what I'm running straight through here, directly into those tubes as my speaker wire. So tubes mounted, holes drilled through the back of the box, speaker wire ran, and then I can mount the subwoofers. All that's kind of buttoned up in there for right now. Mount the subwoofers, get them connected up, have my wires chilling out here out the back. And I think I'll have enough time tomorrow after I get that done. Cap bank can get slid into place. I've just got to pre-cut some wire to run off my bottom bus bar that's in the back here. I'm not going to have good access to that once it's in. So I've got to pre-cut a bunch of wire, run my runs out. I can get the cap bank in, and that's pretty much my goal for tomorrow night. Cap bank installed, fully wired up, tubes installed, fully wired up, and subwoofers installed so that the next night, amplifier. So right now it's Monday night, late. I know this video is already getting long. It's just been a bunch of me blabbing. Some of y'all don't want to see that. I'm sorry. Again, I'm gonna try and do a mix. So tomorrow night, I'm gonna try and make sure, get my camera in here up front early, have it set up so y'all can see me do some work. But for now, I'm gonna go and wrap this up because Monday night, alternator, electrical, all that's kind of sort of buttoned up starting. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, again, tubes, subwoofers, finished with the cap bank fully installed. Wednesday night, amplifiers, amp rack, start getting that worked on. Wednesday, Thursday, any random things finished up, and Friday, definitely by Friday, this is gonna be playing. Maybe earlier, but definitely by Friday. So that's it. Yep, we're getting long, so I'm going to wrap this up. Remember, guys, if you like what we're doing here on the channel, don't forget, click that thumbs up button, give us a like, subscribe, share with all your friends. If you got car friends, they're probably going to love projects like this. Tell them about Project SPL. this week, guys, we're going to have it playing. We're going to have it making noise, and then I can finish dialing it in there. But that's it. Till next time, we'll see y'all then.